Raider Nation, welcome to the Raiders Draft Day Special Players Only Edition presented by Intermountain Healthcare. I'm EA, and that's my man, Bruce Gradkowski, our QB1, joining us for this Players Only Edition. How's it been? How's the summer been?
It's been good.
Right.
It's been a little spring break with the kids. You know, I brought Roman with me today, so we're just having fun. It's great to be back with you, my man.
Yeah, for sure. And it's great to be in this studio again, Intermountain Healthcare, getting it done as always. Hey, you know what, guys? We'll be breaking down all the offseason moves, looking ahead to the 2022 NFL Draft. And since it's Players Only Edition, we have nothing but players here today. Lincoln Kennedy, Charles Woodson the Great, Marcel Reece, Tim Brown, Bucky Brooks, breaking it all down with the draft, which is going to be here, as you see, beautiful Las Vegas right here. We're going to get it done.
I mean, this is where the draft should be every year. I mean, think about it. Look, we're in Vegas, and just look at the city. It's unbelievable. And, man, you just listed the names of guys. You look at the players there. I mean, Lincoln Kennedy, the big guy, getting him on, and Charles Woodson. So,
it's always great to talk to Charles.
For sure. And I love getting a perspective on former players. You know, they've lived it.
Yeah.
So now when you see the moves that your former team's making, it's important to you. We want to see the Raiders do well. We want to see them take the next step, not just get to the playoffs, but bring a championship home to Vegas, baby. So maybe the draft will be here more often than that.
Yeah, for sure. As you know, Raiders don't have a first or second round draft pick this year because we got Davante Adams, which is cool, and I'm okay with that.
Right.
But we do have a third, a fourth, a fifth, 2 fifths, and a 7th round draft pick. And as we know, there's always great talent in all those late rounds. So I'm excited to see what we do on that back half of the draft. So again, like I told my buddies, don't worry about the first 2 rounds when guys are walking across the stage hugging. Just turn on some film of Davante Adams scoring touchdowns, and you'll be excited because you know Davante Adams is going to put it down for the silver and black this year in 2022.
Well, it's worth the picks, right? I mean, we'll take that, Raider Nation, to now let's get some of those gems in the later rounds because they're there for the taking. You think of the O-line, D-line, big guys up front in the trenches. Yeah. You think of receivers, DBs. There's a lot of us out there, Ian. I know you're the man, but there's a lot of guys that can hit the back pedal. We just got to find them. We got to put in the work and find them, and that's what good GMs do. Their scouting departments, that's what good guys do, and I think we got it here.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of changes since we last saw the Raiders play in the January playoffs, and we'll get to all those roster moves later in the show. But the offseason started with a new head coach and general manager who have a long history of success together.
News out of the AFC West.
Josh McDaniels is expected to be the new Raiders head coach. He is not going alone. Dave Ziegler is expected to be the GM of the Las Vegas Raiders. These two have alignment. They are on the same page. They are close friends. And now the Las Vegas Raiders have a new leadership team.
The mission here, Mr. Davis has made it very clear to me. We're committed to doing whatever it takes to meet that championship standard in every area.
This is a huge, glamorous win. I'm very excited for Vegas and the fans. I can't believe they got this guy.
Josh is ready to go now and take advantage of the second opportunity.
This is one of the best football coaches in the National Football League. This is a home run, in my opinion.
The fabric of our culture will be to evaluate and evolve consistently and constantly our processes and our people to make sure that we are always operating at a championship level. We will hire excellent people that are driven by team and that are loyal to our cause.
When we're playing defense, we want to be physical, we want to be able to tackle, and we want to be able to get the ball away from the other team.
My job is to keep the offense as organized as possible and make sure we have a plan of attack every single day to try and get better.
I think the big thing for us is when we look at attacking that process, it's first understanding the different elements that go into someone fitting the Raiders organization.
Davante Adams, in a massive move, is headed to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Davante Adams, are you kidding me? Raider Nation should be out of their skull.
This will be the best system Davante Adams has ever been.
Carr goes over to the left-hand side and delivers a strike to Davante Adams.
Carr's going to look downfield and a long throw is hauled in by Adams sooner or later.
This team is trying to win right now. You are building something very special here.
I want to compete to try to be the best we can be. Our team will show that day in and day out. That's the best way for us to reach our potential, to compete in every aspect of our organization. There will be a million moments that contribute to the success of this organization, and this will be the first one.
Wow, what an incredible opportunity for our Raiders to get back into the groove for the 2022-2023 season with all those outstanding new additions to this football team. What do you say about that? I mean, just so many names, just great times with those two, general manager and head coach first.
You're absolutely right. And you and I were talking about it. It's about chemistry, right? And it starts up top. It starts with Ziegler and Josh McDaniels. Behind closed doors, really ironing it out. What does our team look like? What direction do we need to go? And then you look at the coaching staff. Yeah. It's familiarity. It's who you know, who you're comfortable with. I mean, you look at the coaching staff here. Offense coordinator Mick Lombardi. Yeah. McDaniels worked with him before in New England. You know, Hardigree, he worked with him before. The offensive line coach, Priscillo, he worked with him. So, EA, there's going to be tough conversations that need to be had, and you don't need your feelings to get hurt. You need to have those conversations, and you have to move forward. Yes. And for Ziegler and McDaniels, for how far they go back, it's important. Because it's like boys. It's like, no, we can't do that.
Right, we can't do that. You know what else I like? I like they were able to hold over Edgar Bennett. He has a relationship with Davante Adams, but he's shown that he's developed talent. You get a fifth rounder in Hunter Renfrow, and Hunter Renfrow was in the Pro Bowl last year. So again, this tells you that they're all about relationships, but they're talking about developing players. So again, our draft choices this year are 3rd, 5th, 4th, 7th. Right. Edgar Bennett, if he gets one of those guys to go along with Hunter, to go along with Davante Adams, man, that could be huge. So, again, let's go over to the defensive side of the ball because we had a change in defense, too. We went from one philosophy with Gus Bradley. Now we're going with Patrick Graham and his versatility. That's the one thing that pops off with this coaching staff, and particularly Patrick Graham. And he's not a 3-4 or 4-3 guy. He's a situational football guy. So if I play a football team that has 11 personnel, I'm going to have sub-packages. If I have a football team offensively that runs 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, I'm going to have a defensive package that goes against that. That's why I love Patrick. He's a smart guy, multifaceted. You're talking about defensive systems.
Antonio Pierce played in the NFL. Yeah. The name that sticks out, Rob Ryan. I mean, you think of the crazy stuff he does defensively. As a former quarterback, no, I don't like seeing it. I don't like playing against. I don't like figuring out where your guys are blitzing from, but I will love it this year when you watch Max Crosby, Chandler Jones, and those guys get after the quarterback because they did a good job last year. So I think this defensive staff has guys to work with talent-wise. That's right. Continue to develop guys like you said, which is a great point. And I think this is the staff to do it, so it's exciting to see.
Welcome back to Raiders Draft Special Players Only Edition presented by Intermountain Healthcare. We're joined now by San Diego's own All-Pro tackle, Silver and Black's favorite offensive lineman, Lincoln Kennedy. How you doing today, Link?
Wonderful, my guys. I appreciate you guys having me. It's good to be here. How's it going, brother?
Oh, it's all going good. You know that, getting ready for the draft, all these great movements. Everybody's getting ready for the Las Vegas' first NFL draft, so we're excited to see. Bruce is here with me, and
I just want to know if Big Link's got some eligibility left in him. Come on.
No. I'm all out. It's all out. Like EA, we're done. We're good.
Yeah, we're on this side of the camera. Again, so many moves for the Las Vegas Raiders this offseason. Coaches, let's talk about the defensive line, though. Max Crosby gets signed to a big deal, well worth it. But let's talk a little bit about Chandler Jones going on the opposite side of someone like Max Crosby. How difficult will that be for offensive linemen, Link?
Well, you know what? It puts the pressure on offensive line and opposing coaches because you can focus on chipping as well as, double teaming Max Crosby with the back and stuff like that. But you have to keep another person in for Chandler Jones. He's a proven guy, Super Bowl champion. But the thing is that you can't concentrate and focus on one guy. And that's going to be the key to defending them. I think really right now the Raiders need to focus on creating a rotation that creates depth on the defensive line. And much like, the Super Bowl champions of the Philadelphia Eagles a few years ago, they had a number of guys that they could focus on and go in a serious rotation to keep those guys fresh as possible. It's going to be a key for the Raiders to keep their defensive ends as well as defensive tackles fresh to keep that pressure on the opposing quarterbacks.
Yeah, I tell you what, the AFC West is loaded with quarterbacks. You're talking about Mahomes doing his thing outside the pocket, of course, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and now you bring in someone like Chandler Jones to go on the opposite side of Max. Just on the football field, what does Chandler Jones bring to this football team that's going to allow the rest of the guys to kind of eat?
One is experience. The fact that he's been around, played in a lot of games, a lot of years, experience is key, especially when you talk about young guys. And just like other guys have done with Max Crosby, been able to teach him how to play the game and how to stay involved. Max Crosby had a great year last year. Let's not slip on that. Yep. Pro Bowl year and stuff like that. And the fact that he was able to play at a high level. And there were many games that you and I saw, EA, where he was a difference maker.
Yes.
In that lineup and what he did. And so, especially the Charger game at the end of the season, he was a difference maker in that game. So that experience of being involved and being a game changer is what somebody like Chandler Jones brings to the table.
Let's flip over to the other side of the ball. Offensive line-wise, again, I think when you look at this Raiders football team, you have skill positions that have been successful in Pro Bowls. Defensively now, Patrick Graham is really a genius when you start talking about breaking down offensive football teams. Talk to us a little bit of how the offensive line has to step up this year and be a little bit more consistent.
This is a really key area for the Raiders. It really is. They've got all the pieces all around. You've got yourself a quarterback. You've got yourself receivers. You got yourself a running back. You got to have an offensive line. The offensive line is the thing that's going to make things go. Alex Leatherwood was a little bit of a disappointment last year. He came in as a starter from week one as a starter right tackle and then moved into guard. And so the Raiders were going to have to find pieces to make it around him. I still think he can play. I hope he had a successful training offseason. And what I mean by that is the fact that I hope he can train himself to play tackle and move himself back out there. But the offensive line is a big key because you're not going to go anywhere without if you don't have a good offensive line. So, guys, I'm here to tell you, this offensive line, creating depth, if you have the third, since the Raiders don't have the first two picks, third from on, they've got to find a place to put depth on defensive interior as well as offensive interior in order to keep themselves successful.
Lincoln, I always wonder, I have so much respect for the guys that play up front in the trenches. I take it for granted being quarterback, but my brother, he was the big guy in our family. He got all the food growing up. But he was the offensive lineman. But, I'm watching film on some of these running games and schemes, and how quick and decisive you have to make decisions with the guy right up in your face, and he could spark this way, that way. You can have a twist. Just talk about how much football intelligence maybe comes into play. We want to look for big offensive linemen, but what do you look for in an offensive lineman if you're kind of evaluating some guys?
You know what? It's a great question. The fact is that there are many offensive linemen that play in college football that don't have the necessary teachings in order to thrive on the next level. And what I mean by that is in college, you have a lot of systems where they don't learn how to block. They learn how to just get in the way. There's a difference, okay? When you have an aggressive system, somebody can come off the ball and push people around in an aggressive run game and stuff like that. You have somebody who can thrive on the next level. If you have someone who's just standing in the way or just gets in the way, sort of like a run and shoot type of mentality, you don't have great blockers in college football. And what I mean by that, and that's, I think, honestly, that's the reason why the Raiders and a lot of teams have relied on college football teams coming from Clemson, Alabama, places like that, notable champions in the college level to sort of complete their offensive line. And the thing is that when you have offensive line guys like that who know how to come off and push people, they know how to block people, get in people's face, they're better off on this next level rather than teaching them, because the years to me of development are long gone. It really does not happen like it used to. It's long gone, and you don't have the time and the essence really to draft guys and put them in position to develop them. That's a big thing. So you got to have some guys who are coming out of college football who are ready to go, and that's why some of the top programs have most of their offensive line being drafted.
Well, Link, you've been a great pro and a great Raider. You have any little stories about your draft day experience back in the day?
EA, look, I was very fortunate to be drafted number 9 overall by the Falcons. But I tell you what, guys, I went through 2 shirts in that short amount of time, first round, being drafted by number 9, because I was on the phone from number 3. Rick Meyer and Drew Bledsoe, went number 1 and 2 accordingly. And from number 3 on to when I got picked at number 9 at the Falcons, I went through 2 shirts sweating, telling every general manager that I talked to, yes, I'd like to be with your team. And it was nervous. It was not something I wanted to do ever again, but it's such an awesome option, awesome thing to be drafted. For me to go in the first round to be, for these guys. And these days, I can't imagine. I mean, I don't know what Vegas is going to do with this draft party, guys, to be honest with you. But the stories that I heard, can you imagine being on a little boat floating in the Bellagio Lake over to the center stage in the middle of the Bellagio Hotel, the pond, and getting your name called? I mean, these guys these days got
only
suits,
in Vegas.
got all kinds of
only
things.
in Vegas.
You better live up to it because it's going to be a party. It's going to be a party. Enjoy, brother.
It's always great to talk to Lincoln. San Diego's own, Morris is on, the Silver and Black's own, great offensive lineman Lincoln Kennedy. Thanks again for joining us.
Davante Adams, Las Vegas Raiders, number 17.
Delivers a strike to Davante Adams.
He is unstoppable.
My play style, I'm an aggressive go-getter. I like to call myself a go-getter on the football field. Pretty well-rounded. I like to, go out there and make plays, whatever it takes, whether it's a short ball, deep ball, intermediate. Obviously, they talk about the route running, but, the catching, all of the pieces put together is ultimately what I think makes me.
Pass down the way. Davante Adams down the sideline. Davante Adams is in.
It's a dream come true. Everything I try to represent well for my family, organization, with everything I do. But now I got added incentive to come out here and do it. Putting on the silver and black. I got a nice little deal right there. I meant to show the media earlier, but that's just another little thing that I got carrying with me. I carry it like it's on my back for everybody to see, because obviously you can't make a whole lot of mistakes when they know exactly who you are. So my hood may be on, but I'm rolling around trying to make the Raiders family proud, my family, and everybody else that supports me proud.
Hey, it's hard not to get excited seeing Davante Adams in the silver and black. And it's always exciting to talk to my friend, the next guest, Hall of Famer, Raiders great, Charles Woodson. Welcome to the show, Charles.
Hey, what's up, man? Good to be here with you, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's always great to see you, man. You do an incredible job off the field. Everybody understands that, knows that. But right now, it's really about this Raiders football team that's transformed itself so far. And Davante Adams is the man. I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with them. What do you think makes Davante Adams one of the best guys in the National Football League?
Well, first of all, I think it's his attitude. I think you got a chance to sit down with him and kind of understand him as a young man. I think he's a guy that's hungry. I think he has an incredible work ethic, so he wants to be great at what he does. I think that's first and foremost. And then I think on the field, it kind of speaks for himself. You've seen all the video of Davante and the way that he gets separation at the line of scrimmage. Like a lot of times those plays going against DBs is over before it ever even starts because he has 2 to 3 yards of separation. So for a guy like Derek Carr, in those crucial crunch situations, if a team is not going to double Davante Adams, a good chance he's going to be open. And if they do double him, then of course that opens up opens up the door for guys like Waller and Hunter Renfrow to get separation on their guys. So his ability to gain that separation from DBs and a big, open, wide target. He's a tall guy, big guy. it's going to be a great connection between old friends this year.
Yeah, for sure. And I tell you what, one thing that really jumped off for me was the chip on the shoulder is there. I mean, he knew every receiver that was drafted before him in that 2014 draft. How did you keep that chip on your shoulder after all those years?
Well, for me, I think I was the same way as, Davante. I think, it's something that has been in me for a long time. And I remember one time, for me, when I first got drafted to the Raiders, we had one-on-one drills. And, I'm coming in, of course, I'm a hot shot, type of guy, coming in with all the accolades. And one-on-one drill against Tim Brown, man. And Tim Brown ran this, kind of a out, up, out again. And I'm like, man, this is one-on-one. You ain't got no pass rush. You can't run all these moves. So it's one of those things that it kind of humbles you. And then at the same time, you say, okay, if you got to do all that to me in one-on-one, then you know what? I belong here. And then I fast forward to our first game. We go down to Kansas City.
Yep.
And they hit me with bad moon rising. So I had two instances early in my career that were very humbling experiences, but they also were able to set me back on track to where I was like, hey, man, you got to go out there and do it. People are not just going to shy away from you because of who you are and what you've done in the past, man. You got to go out there and get it done on the field. So I think, for me, I know that's what it was. And I think with Davante coming over from, one of the greatest of all time, everybody knows what Aaron Rodgers is as a quarterback.
Yep.
I think Davante is going to have that chip on his shoulder to where it's, hey, I understand what I had in Green Bay, but I can still do the same thing here with my quarterback. I'm the best receiver in the game, and I'm going to go prove it regardless of who's throwing me the ball. So, again, man, I'm excited to see, this duo work this year.
Every time I go to a 7-on-7 tournament with all these young football players, I see guys hopping and skipping, off the line of scrimmage. So he has really put his imprint on all these young receivers trying to really challenge those cornerbacks in these 7-on-7 games. So Davante Adams really getting it done on and off the football field, for you say. I tell you what, you're the perfect person right now to really get into this. Cliff Branch and Richard Seymour inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. What an incredible achievement for these two football players. Talk to us a little bit about what it's like to get that phone call. And we all know that Cliff Branch has passed away, but 21, that's one of the reasons I wore 21. But Charles, talk to us a little bit about what it means for the families and your circle to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations to Cliff and Richard, both guys, Raiders. But Cliff was, man, I love Cliff, man.
Yeah.
I love seeing Cliff every time, I was out in, whether it was Oakland or he came up to Napa or wherever I saw him, man, always had a smile on his face, always upbeat. And, when you watch those old clips of Cliff Branch, man, Cliff was a dog.
Yeah.
He was a dog, man. So, I mean, for him, of course, his immediate family, so happy for them. And also, not only that, man, Raiders fans, man, they're passionate about their players and they wanted this, man. They wanted Cliff in there. And so for him to finally get in, I wish he was, of course, you wish he was here to actually be there and experience what, I was able to experience last year. And all of the pageantry that goes along with, making it to the Hall of Fame, going to Canton, and they just shower you with a lot of love, and it's a huge accomplishment, man. And just congratulations to the families and everyone who supported Cliff Branch and Richard Seymour and all of the Hall of Famers, man. It's a special moment in time.
Yeah, for sure, man. Finally here, 1998, young guy out of Michigan, Heisman Trophy winner, dominant defensive football player. Talk to us a little about that draft process, what it was all about.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting time for all of these young athletes, man. To you work your butt off, throughout your college career to get to a point to where you can put your name in a hat to be drafted by a team, and once your school year is over and you're done playing, now you start preparing, getting ready for your pro day or going to the combine, trying to get yourself in tip-top condition, to put your best foot forward, so that you can get that call. And I just remember, now, they speed the picks up a little bit. Now, I think you get like maybe 10 minutes in the first few picks or whatever it is. And for us, it was 15 minutes, I remember. And teams used to take the whole 15 minutes. and so, even for me, like, I ended up being a high pick, but that 15 minutes between picks, man, you sitting there like, oh my God. So, all of these different emotions are running through your mind. You're starting to hear, people talk about this team might trade up.
Right.
If they trade up, they might not. This team might not pick you. You might drop. All of that stuff is going on, man. So I know these guys, man, are kind of, sweating a little bit, even though the top guys, you kind of know where you're going to go.
Right.
It's still nerve wracking, man. But what another glorious day, man, for myself and for my family, being able to share with them, man. And I remember I had my cousin who lived with us for a while growing up, man. He was there, and when I walked out there on the stage, man, he walked out there too.
He got a piece too, huh?
yeah, man, come on, man.
Yeah.
He was like my little bodyguard.
Right.
It was
That's
it
awesome.
was a lot of fun, man, and just a great moment for myself and the family.
Yeah, well, Charles, man, it's always great catching up with you. Always great talking to you. Raider Nation loves you, man. You take care of yourself, take care of that family, and congratulations on your life after football. Is as exciting as when you played. So thanks a lot for joining us, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, good, man. Good to see you. Hey, can't wait to see you this season. I'll be out there.
Oh, for sure. I know that.
When the Raiders drafted me, hey, my whole goal of my life came true. I go to the Senior Bowl, opening kickoff, I'm running down the field, I go right into the wedge, the guy sticks up his elbow, this big guy, bam, right in my eye. I couldn't see, I'm like, oh man, I get up, come to the sideline, and he goes, hey Phil, we got no backups. I said, don't worry about me, I can play. I went wacky that day, and I made all these tackles. Al Davis, he met me after the game, he waited for me, and he came up to me and said, nice game, Filippiano. And I never could forget that voice or that smile or his hair. It was pretty cool, but I think he liked because I got the black eye, I looked like the Raider with the patch. And then came draft day. I invited all my buddies to come to my place. I bought the beer, I bought the subs, I bought everything. It started like 9 o'clock in the morning. By noon, I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's break out the beer. My mother called like 3 times. Philip, are you gonna call us or whatever? I said, Mom, I'm waiting on the call. Stop calling me. It was about 7 o'clock. Phone rings, and I get on the phone with Ron Wolf, and I said, Ron, can I ask you a question? What round? He goes, oh, second. And I said, what took so long? He goes, well, back in those days, there was no rules about half hour, 15 minutes and all that stuff. They just took as long as they wanted to take. So when they said second round, Oakland Raiders, wow, that was beautiful. I had seen the Raiders play. I loved the way they played. I loved their colors. But to get drafted there, never even thought about it. It ended up perfect.
We're joined now by our main man, Marcel Reece. Bruce Gradkowski is always our QB #1 for players only. And that's awesome right there. That's what it's about, right? The old time, getting drafted, waiting around, not knowing where you're going to go, the telephone. Wasn't no cell phones, right? So guys had to get it done. What do you think about Phil Filippiano?
You talk about Phil V and that draft story, right then and there, you know he's a Raider. He's talking about that senior bowl where, don't worry about it. I don't need any subs. I'm ready to go, black eye and all. I just want to do what I have to do to make plays.
Right, yeah.
And guess what? The great Al Davis had that eye for talent, and he was right there waiting on him because he was not going to let him get away.
Yeah, definitely the eye for talent with the black eye, right?
That's what made it so cool, man. But that did exemplify his toughness there. You know, your eyes, basically his eyes swollen shut. He finishes the game, all those tackles and the way he played, and he's real about it, though. That's what the Raiders stand for, that toughness, that tenacity. You think of that defense back in the day, and man, so what a cool story. And, I love the black eye. I might have to come in with one of those just to look a little tougher.
Battle wounds.
Yeah, for sure. The Raiders made some great commitments this year, honoring Crosby, one of our favorite football players, does an outstanding job of getting it done. So Max Crosby, of course, Jones and Adams, Derek Carr gets his deal done. Talk to us a little bit about what that means for this Raiders organization.
I mean, think about a guy like Max Crosby. We just talked about Phil V.
Yeah, right.
A Raider is a Raider, and you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
Max personifies what a Raider is. When he talks about what it is to be a Raider, you can hear it in his voice. You can hear the passion in his voice, his love for the Raiders. It's not just the tattoo that you see on him. He really loves being a Raider, and we really love him here because he personifies what it is to be a Las Vegas Raider and a part of this organization. And I'm happy we got him locked up for a long term.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy we got him locked up long term, and he wanted to be here.
Yeah, man, for sure. All the great big-time signings this year were great. Carr, obviously, Davante Adams we'll talk about and have talked about. But what about the under-the-radar guys this year? We have so many changes in the roster this year. First of all, Rock. Rock just seemed versatile guy, 3 or 4 years in the league, makes great plays on the ball, kind of broken down yesterday, thinking about, he does an outstanding job both off and on, route recognition, making plays on the ball with both hands. Really, really love this guy. I think he's going to add some great depth and competition to the corner spot. Who's your underrated guy?
Of course.
He picks the corner.
The DB's
Look at
pick
my man, though.
Go to pick corner. Bruce, what do you got?
What do you got, Bruce? Who's your underrated?
Mr. Nichols.
Okay.
Bilal Nichols. Because, look, we're talking about Chandler Jones. We're talking about Max Crosby. Who's your guy that comes in, can play different spots, that has the grittiness to him, that can play multiple spots inside in the interior? Now all of a sudden you're focused on Chandler Jones, you're focused on Max Crosby. Someone has to be in there doing some dirty work.
That's right.
Just put your hand in the pile and do what needs to be done for the team, the defense.
I love this about him. That running down the line, he's not going to get double because you have Chandler and Max. I love this aspect of him in the running game. Look at that. Fending off the double team, making sure that the running back is not getting any yards after the touch. Love that fact.
You need role players.
Yes.
You need role players like that can do multiple different things. You can move them around, especially in this defense we're looking forward to seeing.
Yeah.
And we talk about Max Crosby and Chandler Jones on the edges. So I love the versatility inside he brings.
I'm a little surprised that the quarterback is going D-line on
He knows how important it is.
I'm a defensive guy.
I love Rock. I think Bilal's going to be awesome. I'm going to go a little bit outside the box because I feel that we're taking this man for granted a little bit. I'm going with Dave Ziegler.
Wow. That's outside the box.
See, in my opinion, Dave Ziegler is our most important and vital acquisition this offseason. And I say that because, yes, we got a great head coach in Josh McDaniels. Josh has been doing it for a very long time. He's been one of the great young offensive minds in this league.
Yep.
Dave Ziegler, the way he goes about his business, and you can tell by the acquisitions that we just spoke about, he plays an integral part in doing all of that. And having a GM, the way Dave Ziegler is, creates stability. That's how you build a dynasty. And I believe that Dave Ziegler is making the right steps to create a dynasty, a new dynasty for the Las Vegas Raiders franchise.
Well, and I love that pick with Dave Ziegler because it does start at the top there. Mark Davis, Dave Ziegler with that hire, and you're talking about now getting the right people in the building, and it's been a continual process. You know how it is. And so as we keep going down that direction, and Ziegler, speaking on what he's looking for, not just the talent, but being a good teammate.
Yes.
Being football, having that football intelligence. So I like that pick, man. Thinking outside the box, I like it.
Yeah, for sure. Look at our draft picks coming up here. And again, 2022 draft, first time in history, and it's going to be in Las Vegas, right here at home for us.
Yes,
so again, we all know there's value in all of those picks because we have players who have shown up, been to the Pro Bowl, gotten signed, made tremendous plays for this football team. Nate Hobbs, one of the best sub-package corners in the league last year as a young guy. Outstanding job. See, 5th round right there. Bruce, how do you find those gems in the 4th, 5th free agents? How do you find those gems?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you look at interiorly, right? Like the offense line, defensive line. We see some good receivers, tight end Darren Waller. I mean, they're out there. Yes. You just got to do the work. And that's what I do love about Ziegler. I love about Josh McDaniels. Look, McDaniels can't, he's with Bill Belichick. They're putting in the work. So that is the thing. When you want to find guys late in the draft, you have to put in the work. You have to study these guys. You have to get to know them. You have to see not only what they're like on the field, but off the field as well. Yes. And that's where it comes. I mean, Hunter Renfrow, he's a guy as a coach you'd love to coach every day of the week. He puts in the work, he does his job, he knows what to do, and that's what they're expecting to continue to bring around here. You can find a lot of those guys late in the draft. Marcel, you said it, you were an undrafted guy, and look at the great career you had. I was a 6th-round draft pick. So you love the story, and I love the underdog mentality. I love the underdog stories, getting guys late in the draft and giving them all you want is an opportunity.
Right.
And Mike Tomlin said all the time at Pittsburgh, all you need is a chance. Just the more you can do, right? The more you can do, and I think you find those type of guys late in the round.
Yeah, I think one thread that runs through all of our guys, at least, is they played a lot of football. There's a lot of great film on them, and you can evaluate them over a period of 2 or 3 years. They've played some good football, no matter where they play. It doesn't have to be the SEC. It can be wherever. You have to get good evaluation, but those guys have had to play some good football against good competition.
To your point, EA, that's what separates good evaluators from great evaluators in stability. Not just looking against the competition, but being able to have an eye to see someone's footwork, see how their hips progress, see their flexibility in their film, no matter whom they're playing against competition-wise. You can have that eye for talent. Bruce, you do a job right now where you're always rating players, and you have that eye for talent. So those are things that experienced football personnel guys like Dave Ziegler and the guys that he have under him on his team have for us that we are all going to benefit from the Raider Nation.
I was projected to go first, second, 3rd round, but there was a lot of teams that were interested in me in the first. So had the ESPN camera crews come to the crib. Everybody there had a bunch of my family at the house. My mom's small apartment. We packing that thing out. The whole first round go by. And, it's the first pick go by. As soon as you hear who get drafted, it ain't you. You think, oh, they tripping. That's all supposed to be me. So right out the gate, I keep hearing all these names called, a bunch of receivers. It's a lot of receivers going early, and none of them my name. And I'm like, okay, so this is weird. A couple teams that said they was interested in me picking, different, not even receivers. So I'm like, all right, now I'm getting nervous. Then we get to the end. I think at 28, I thought I was going to the Carolina Panthers. That's who talked to me the most.
Right.
They picked Kelvin Benjamin. Yeah. I just took my earpiece out, everything. I'm telling people to leave. So at this point, I think the last team that could have done it was Seattle. And then by the time it got to them, I think they traded away their pick. So everybody get out. We gone. Next day, I just had really, really close immediate family. My girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now.
Right.
My mom, agent, a couple uncles, cousins, but it was a small group.
Yeah.
We all wore black because it's everybody's funeral who didn't pick me day one. And then, I get picked to go to the Packers, and I was ecstatic, but I was still, I think that gave me a little chip on my shoulder because I felt like a lot of the guys that got picked ahead of me, like, they weren't better than me or hadn't proven more to be better than me. So came in and tried to get to work, and the rest is history.
Yeah. We're now joined by the Hall of Famer and the great Tim Brown. Tim, man, great to see you. I know you're always talking about golfing. I love that chair you're sitting in right now. How's things going right now for you, my man?
Hey, man, I can't complain, man. Good to be with you guys.
All right, man. Bruce, Tim is a dynamite, right? Tim is the guy, 1988 draft. He was my same draft. All-star receiver, a long line of great receivers what Raiders have. Tim, talk to us a little bit about Davante Adams.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to speak with him, and I told him, when you're flying by my records, can you just please acknowledge him as you go by him, please? That would be awesome. But, look, man, it's been a long time since the Raiders have had a guy like this that everybody in the league knows is a number one. And is their number one? Obviously we had Amari Cooper for a couple of years, and he did some good things for the Raiders. But it's great to see Davante there, man. And he's excited about being there and wants to do everything he can to help this team win. And I just don't know if you can have anything better than that right now.
Great point, Tim. It's awesome to have you on, man. Like, what a career you had, and especially as a former quarterback.
Yeah.
We need guys like you, and they don't come along. They don't just fall off of trees. And Davante Adams, Derek Carr, their relationship goes back to college. Just talk about how important that quarterback-receiver relationship is.
It is hugely important, man. Even though I think I played with 17 quarterbacks with the Raiders and played with another 3, caught a ball from 3 different quarterbacks in Tampa my last year. But you know, Rich and I had 5 years together, and they were 5 really good years. When you have a guy who can direct. In 2002, man, we literally sometimes would come out the huddle with 4 plays called. We would have a man run, a man pass, a zone run and a zone pass call, and he would, by the flick of his fingers, would get us into the run or the pass that we were supposed to be in, man. And it takes a very heady guy to be able to get that done.
Well, we all know it's an honor to wear the silver and black and be a part of this proud franchise, but it's extra special for Davante Adams.
My whole family was Raider fans, so I knew a lot about the history, since I was young too. So just growing up, honestly, all Raiders, anything Raiders was what I was about. I had a Tim Brown jersey, C. Wood. Those got worn until the numbers fell off, but Rich Gannon, everything. So I'm just looking forward to coming in and trying to, leave my footprint as well as I can.
Wow, that's legit right there. TB, what do you feel about the guys rocking your jersey, man? Come on now, that has to be awesome.
That's cool.
Well, the background story on that is his stepmom or his dad's girlfriend at the time. I believe they're married now. They're definitely still together. Her and Sharice, my wife, are really good friends, and they've been friends for all these years. When we were in Oakland, Davante's come to my house before. I wasn't there when he was a young kid. She's brought him over to my house before. So, they've been telling me about him, man, since he was in high school, bro. I've been knowing about him because of the relationship that my wife has with his stepmom. So, man, look, this is awesome, man. I just hope and pray, man, he's able to get accomplished everything that he wants to get accomplished, because I think if that happens, it'll also help the team to accomplish a lot of his goals.
You know what? One thing that just came to my mind is what is it going to be like for the number 1 receiver to have like a number 2 guy? You played with Rison, you played with Jerry Rice. You're the number 1 guy. How do you feel about having that number 2 guy like Davante's going to have with Hunter?
I said last year, and people thought, hey, Tim, why are you saying that about Hunter? And what I said was he shouldn't be catching 100 balls. Because if he's catching 100 balls, then that means the balls are not going outside, they're not getting up the field, because that's not what he's here to do. He's here to work that underneath and to do all that stuff. Let Darren, do his thing in the middle of the field, and now you got Davante to do the middle of the field, the sidelines, up the field, to do all those great things. But I think that Hunter's going to have a better year this year, even though he may only catch 65, 70 balls. Because you expect that Davante is going to catch over 100 balls this year.
That's a great point, because as a quarterback, you do need a guy outside to threaten, downfield, to get the top off of the defense. Talk about that a little bit. You talked about hand signals with Rich Gannon. Now Derek Carr, Davante Adams, they almost could probably look at each other and know, do that.
Yes. They're gonna have built-in things. They're going to be automatics. They won't, like you said, they'll look at each other, and there may be a nod or there may not be a nod. But if you get a coverage and you have a specific route, it's going to automatically convert to either a back shoulder or a slant or something, because they know what they can do to beat the defender that's on him. So I'm just looking forward to seeing it, man. I just think it's going to be awesome. And Derek, I know he's been dreaming about this, and finally he has it. It takes all the pressure. He's got the money. You got the receivers. You got everything you need. Let's go get this thing done.
Yeah, for sure.
He just doesn't have the chair yet. We have to get that chair over here.
He doesn't have the chair yet. Right. We started off with the 1988 draft, and I know you were a part of that awesome draft class, right? Because I can say that. So, talk to us a little bit about that process, Tim Brown, and how you prepared and what you were thinking about coming up on that draft years ago.
For me, man, it was, if I didn't go to the Raiders, my career would have gone really differently because the first 5 teams that year, Atlanta, Detroit, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Tampa, they were all looking for a savior. They were all looking for somebody to come in here and be their number 1 guy. But instead, I got a chance to come and join the offense that had Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, Todd Christensen, James Lofton, Willie Gault, and Mervin Fernandez.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could literally stay in the background, man, and do what I needed to do, return punts and kickoffs, which is what I did early in my rookie year, and they started to work me in.
That's an awesome story. Tim Brown, really appreciate you, man. Always great talking to you, man, and take care of yourself, take care of your family. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you guys, man. Take care of yourself. Be good.
Thanks, Tim.
Welcome back, Raider Nation. Welcoming in Bucky Brooks, doing it all when we talk about NFL draft. What's going on, my man, Bucky? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, guys. How you guys doing?
Bucky, we had to clean it up for you today. I got the fresh shave going on, trying to look as good as my man over here, which is hard. Then they tell me I got to interview you, too, so it's been a rough day.
Well, Bucky, first impressions, we have the NFL draft, first time in the history here in Las Vegas. What's your take on that?
Well, man, I think it's great. I think anytime you're able to move the venues, you create a different level of excitement. And now to bring it to Vegas, look, man, Vegas is a host entertainment city. To bring it there, to have the nation there, to kind of see what the experience is, I think is great for the league. More importantly, I think it's great for Raider Nation.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone's so excited about this draft coming up here in Las Vegas. Tons of NFL folks coming in town. Big spotlight everywhere, but our big spotlight is Davante Adams. What do you think about the acquisition of Davante Adams to the Silver and Black?
Hey, man, I think it allows you to go next level. When you think about the AFC, and we saw it in the postseason, you have to have a squad to be able to get it done, and you have to be able to support your quarterback. So for years, we've talked about Derek Carr being at that level. Well, now you need to surround him with enough guys so he can show off his talents. Well, Davante Adams is the best wide receiver in football. And for me, when I look at this offense, how do you pick your poison? You have Davante Adams on one side, Darren Waller on the other. You have Hunter Renfrow that can make plays. And, oh, by the way, you have a top 10 rushing attack. I think this sets up nicely for the Raiders to be able to really impose their will on opponents.
You know, Bucky, are we seeing a trend here? I mean, the things McVay has done out in L.A., and now we're seeing the Raiders. I mean, look, they added Davante Adams, number 1 dude on offense. They added Chandler Jones, a number 1 guy on defense. I mean, is this the trend we're seeing, acquiring veteran studs around the league?
I think so. I think it has to be, and it's not just what the Rams were able to do in winning a Super Bowl. Remember, the year before, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers used a similar model. And what guys are seeing is not necessarily about the draft picks and draft and develop. It's about acquiring stars, guys who can play. Because at the end of the day, you need experience, you need expertise to be able to win at the highest levels. We've seen that play out. And what we're seeing is teams are quickly jumping on board the bandwagon to make sure that they have enough stars to be able to compete at a high level.
It's an incredible opportunity for this football team to really take off to the next level. What kind of impact do you think Davante Adams will have immediately, Bucky?
Well, I think he has a tremendous impact because as we talk about it, from a defensive standpoint, the first thing that you do in the game plan is who do we want to take away? So if we want to take away Davante Adams with the double team, that means we're going to single Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. It also means that we're lighting the box when it comes to Josh Jacobs. And so based on what Josh McDaniels traditionally does, every game plan is a snowflake. So each week it changes. So based on how you're having to deal with the Raiders, they have so many counter moves to what the defense can do. To me, what you've created is a machine that should be an unstoppable force in the AFC West.
Yeah, Bucky, obviously Raiders are not picking in the first or second round because of the great Davante Adams, but in that third round, the 86th pick, where do you think the Silver and Black's going to target?
Well, so there are a couple of different ways that can go. I think they have to look at the offensive line first, because we talked about all the weapons on the perimeter, all the guys that are able to play on the outside, but it's meaningless if you're not able to protect. And so when I look at the tape and I think about the guys, Derek Kennard from Kentucky is the guy that stands out to me. Interior mauler brawler. He gives you the ability to kind of play the physical style that you want to play, but still being able to protect the quarterback in the passing game. And then there's a kid at UT Chattanooga, Cole Strange, who's very, very interesting to me. When you think about being able to get the job done on the front line, you have to be able to do a few different things. You got to be light with your feet. You got to be able to dominate. You got to be able to move people off the ball. Derek Kennard, as we continue to look at the clips, he is able to do that. And so I love what the Raiders can do if they can add pieces up front.
Well, that's a great call, Bucky. I love that pick because of the aggressiveness, the gritty type play up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing about offensive linemen, because you were just showing the clips of Cole Strange from UC Chattanooga. What you're looking for is someone who can stay on his feet, someone who has developmental potential, someone who down the line maybe can ascend from being a backup to a quality starter in the 4th and 5th rounds. In the 5th round in particular, you're looking for developmental guys that may not project to play year 1, but by year 2 or 3, they should be really heavy in the rotation.
Well, let's tee you up on the other side of the ball, okay? You know, as far as the Raiders are concerned, offensively, it looks like we're set pretty much. Obviously, want to get some offensive line help. Defensively, we kind of need some help in that middle area. Defensive line is all set. What about your linebackers?
Yeah, I think at linebacker is really key, because you have to understand, in Patrick Graham's defense, it's a thinking man's defense. And so that's why Chad Moumet, for me, from Wyoming, is someone to keep an eye on. This is a kid who was a safety in high school. So he naturally comes with ball skills and athleticism. But when you watch him play, he's kind of squirrely near the line of scrimmage, can shoot gaps, can blitz, has a great instinctive nature for making plays. And then the diagnostic skills that you see. He sorts it out. He makes plays. You can see him take a pick 6. This is a kid who is a natural leader. I believe he starts day 1 on the inside linebacker spot.
You know, what do you think, too, about this defense? I mean, because you defensive backs over here, that's all that's all you guys want to do. Even though, Bucky, I know you're calling your offensive plays for your high school because you guys secretly want to be a quarterback. So play the Madden game for me, if you will, though. Would you rather be the offensive coordinator of the Raiders or the defense coordinator dialing up blitzes that way, or that offense, man, just thrashing defenses downfield?
Well, I don't want to offend you, Bruce, because I love offensive football, and it certainly puts butts in seats. But if you're going to win the championship, you got to play quality defense. Okay. And so I would rather be on Patrick Graham's side, because I believe if you're able to keep the score down, because ultimately, remember, in this division, because you're building your team to win the division, there's quarterback play throughout the division. So whoever's able to build a defense that can keep the score down, they're the ones that are going to be able to advance. And when you look at Patrick Graham's resume, and what he's been able to do in terms of getting the defense to play hard, getting the defense to kind of be a chameleon based on what they're seeing each week. Yeah, let me have all the pieces with a pass rush. I can win with that, because the guys up front can make the back end guys a lot better by knocking the quarterback down.
Bucky, again, when you talk about evaluating players later in the rounds, later in the draft, we've had some incredible success here at the Las Vegas Raiders with, of course, Nate Hobbs last year, locking down guys in that sub-package defense. We got Max Crosby coming off the edge, Foss Moreau adding great depth at tight end, Hunter Renfrow, of course, Pro Bowler, and then Darren Waller. What do you say about those late round drafts, and how do you evaluate those guys?
When you have success with late round guys, it means that you understand exactly what you're looking for. Meaning, most of the time when you're in day 3, the 4th round or later, what you're looking for is a redeemable quality. Meaning, what is the one superpower that would give the kid an opportunity to get a jersey on game day and build a career? And so when you think about Darren Waller, it was his mismatch ability, meaning his ability to be a wide receiver that grew into being a tight end. Hunter Renfrow being a route runner extraordinaire, being able to find guys who have redeeming qualities, and then having a coaching staff that is willing to develop those guys and put them on the field. So it's a combination of the front office and the coaching staff working together to give young guys opportunities to develop in-game action.
Do you have any late round sleepers you're looking at? Not even for the Raiders, but guys that you're keeping your eye on?
Yeah, so one of the things that you look for in later rounds, there are 2 ways that you can go about it. You can go about looking at traits, meaning height, weight, speed, things that traditionally play in the league, or you can go for production, guys who have been productive throughout their collegiate careers. So there's 3 guys that I've been keeping my eye on. David Bell is a receiver from Purdue, very productive in the Big Ten, has a knack for not only moving the chains, but putting the ball in the paint as a wide receiver. I love guys that score touchdowns because if they scored in college, they typically don't score it in the pros. And then when we think about, I couldn't go without talking about a DB. There's a kid at the University of Houston named Marcus Jones. He has 9 career punt return touchdowns, but is also a ball hawk. So when you think about being able to earn a jersey on game day, well, being a returner in the kicking game gives you an opportunity to get on the field. And then if you got great feet, that gives you a chance to be on the sub package. And finally, there's a kid from Jackson State. His name is James Houston. He has 16.5 sacks playing for Deion Sanders this year. And when you watch him, he can play linebacker. He can come off the edge. He can do a variety of different things. And we think about the multiplicity that defenses are using. If you can have a guy that is versatile, but also effective at getting to the quarterback, it gives him a chance to make a team.
That's the way to break it down right there, Bucky.
Yes.
Obviously,
9 returns, though. That caught my eye.
That's big time. That's big time. Obviously, Dave Ziegler has done an amazing job in the free agency here in the Silver and Black. It'll be his first draft for the Raiders. Can you kind of break down what do you think his method will be going into this 2022 draft for the Raiders?
Well, look, obviously he's been impacted and influenced from his time in New England. And you think about the success that they had there and what they typically drafted. The number one thing that shows up, smarts. You can see a bunch of high IQ players coming to the building because on both sides of the ball, they want to be multiple. They want to be able to change things. They want to be able to have check with me systems. The only way you can do that with young guys, they have to be really smart and on top of it. I think you're also going to see a bunch of guys that love football. Now, everyone will profess their love for ball, but it's another thing to show it. Because I think we're going to see a team that grinds, that puts a lot of time in on the practice field, in meeting rooms. The only way you can get through that and thrive, you really got to love it. I think the football character part is really going to be a huge part of the evaluation when we look at the guys that come through the building.
Man, we appreciate all the things that you've added to this show today, Bucky. Good luck to your season, your high school football team. I know you're going to be busy during the draft. We really appreciate you coming by for a Players Only edition and the draft special for the 2022 season.
You want people that are passionate about their jobs, right? We all want to work with those types of people. We all want to hire those types of people that are passionate about their work. So I think it starts there. Good people, good character traits, people that are willing to work with others, people that are selfless, people that are team-oriented. Like, those are really important things for us. Football intelligence is an important aspect for us. And I think, kind of on its core, people that love football, people that are good teammates, people that have good football intelligence, those all calculate into low-maintenance individuals. And I think the more low-maintenance individuals that you have, where you're not expounding energy in those different areas, and you can focus just on getting better and winning, I think those are really some of the core criteria for us when we start to talk about a player, on whether that player is going to be a fit for the Raiders or not. Forget about the talent and all those types of things. I think those areas have to make sense first, and then you graduate onto the skill set and the value and all those different types of things.
Wow, Dave has told you so much in that brief little snippet of what he's talking about, the evaluation period, the evaluation point of these players who are on our football team right now since him and Josh has arrived, done an outstanding job of getting guys who are great on and off the football field. I think that's the one thing that's ringing true for every move Dave has made this offseason.
Absolutely. You talk about the production on the field, but also just the character guys off. Because he's right. You don't want to be sitting there focused on things outside the white line.
Nonsense.
Like, if we can have a good group of guys that were focused on winning, improving each and every day, now your chances of winning and winning a championship is that much higher. So we're talking about an offense that had led for us at PFF the 4th most explosive pass plays.
Right.
So now you add Davante Adams to that. You know, I think Josh McDaniels has his Julian Edelman and Hunter Renfrow.
Right.
He has his Randy Moss and Davante Adams.
Great point.
And he has his Gronk and Darren Waller. I mean, like, so.
Has it all, right?
He's got the pieces of what made New England successful, and he was, he's a spectacular play caller.
Yep.
So it's just fun to watch this, all come together.
And then he has a draft. We know there's value for this football team in the third, in the fourth, in the 2 5s. We can talk to you about Nate Haas. We can talk to you again, about Hunter Renfrow. We can talk to you again about Darren Waller. All those guys picked after the third and fourth round.
Well, absolutely. And I think to your point, this Raiders football team is built where the draft picks they have, it's okay. Because where they need to build or get some, depth is offensive line, defensive line, some linebackers. And you can find those gems in later rounds. So, but they have their core guys. They went out and got a Chandler Jones, and they have Max Crosby.
Yes.
They signed some of their own, and Jonathan Hankins. So it's exciting to see it come together, and like you said, but also to continue to build with the draft picks they do have.
Yeah, for sure. It's been an offseason full of exciting moves, and the Silver and Black production team has been there every step of the way documenting for the new web series, Behind the Shield.
A deal involving Super Bowl winning quarterback Russell Wilson.
And the AFC West will include Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, and Russell Wilson.
Some breaking news that we bring you here today. Khalil Mack is on the move.
The terms are now agreed to. Khalil Mack about to be an LA Charger.
The AFC West is stacking up. It looks like an all-star game.
Well, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, J.C. Jackson, is now coming to the Chargers.
It seems like every big-name player these days going to the AFC West.
I'll tell you what, you got to give big props to the Denver Broncos for what they've done so far in this offseason. They land a franchise quarterback, and now you get one of the best pass rushers in this league.
This looks like a 3 playoff team division to me. When you look at it, it's just absolutely stacked.
Sometimes it's survival of the fittest, and maybe the team out of the AFC West wound up winning it all this year.
We all know what the Chiefs can do. The Broncos and Chargers are loading up. Now, all eyes are on the Raiders.
That was an amazing, amazing job by the Silver and Black production team. They did an incredible job behind the scenes. I loved it. It's the kind of thing you want to get your popcorn, get ready, sit down and check it out. Make sure you go to Raiders.com and the Raiders official YouTube channel to check that out. What did you think of it?
It was awesome. I mean, behind the scenes, I love it. And you and I, we've been in those meetings. We've been behind the scenes. But even so, to keep up with it and see the handshakes, the hugs, and just, the crew did an unbelievable job. So I can't wait to keep up with it.
Yeah, Raider Nation, it's been great here. Players Only, sponsored by Intermountain Healthcare. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We'll see you soon.
We're going to build a culture that is sustained by high-character people that work hard to meet that championship standard.
The fabric of our culture will be to evaluate and evolve consistently to make sure that we are always operating at a championship level.
Thank you so much.
The Las Vegas Raiders select